Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Covenant Army Podcast, where our mission is to equip couples to align with God and win the daily battle raging against marriage and family. I am Brent, and I'm here with my beautiful wife, Miss Lucy.
Hello, hello, hello.
Good morning, baby girl. How you doing?
So I'm doing pretty good. Slept real good last night.
That's a good thing. Feel refreshed then, it sounds.
Yeah. Night before last wasn't. I felt like it was taking me a long time to go to sleep.
Why is that?
I don't know. I was wide awake. It's interesting. We were watching a show and I fell asleep. You turned the TV off, then I was wide awake. I don't know why. Never happens like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I didn't fall asleep till like, I don't know, 2:30.
Ooh.
So then today, it's almost like I was catching up.
Gotcha.
So I feel better.
Yeah. A little harder to wake you up today.
What?
It's a lot harder to wake you up today.
It was a little, because I was having good sleep.
No, it's good. It's good. You need good rest.
But I went to sleep feeling really good as I was laughing to the Cosby Show.
I was going to say, you must have got a really good night's sleep because you're looking extra beautiful today.
Oh, thank you, babe.
The beautiful sleep.
I'm glad you think so.
I did. I do.
You did? You do.
I did. I do. I do. So I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No,
You said fell asleep to the Cosby Show.
well, yesterday I just so happened to be on Facebook and I saw a clip of the Cosby Show come up. And I don't see those come up very often, so I clicked on it and I was just rolling because it was so funny. So went looking for the show and found it, and watching the show last night. I know you fell asleep way before.
Well, yeah, because I was tired and I need all the beauty sleep that I can get. So I'm not cutting short on any of that stuff. I'm gonna get me some beauty sleep.
It was funny. It was so funny. Like literally, I fell asleep laughing because it was funny.
Well, what's crazy is you can't find that show hardly anywhere.
I know they took it off of everywhere.
With all the stuff that happened to him a few years back. I don't know how long it's been since that whole mess happened.
I know, but it doesn't negate the fact that it was a really good, wholesome show.
Well, I know probably a lot of our listeners grew up watching the Cosby Show, I would think. Because we're kind of in that sweet spot. Most of our listeners in between like 35 to 55.
But when was the Cosby Show on?
I was just looking it up as we were talking about it. It was 1984 through 1992. That was the years that it ran. Yep.
It seems like a lifetime ago.
So 8 years. Yeah.
Seems like a lifetime ago, for sure.
Well, yeah, because you weren't born much. You weren't very old when the Cosby Show came out, babe.
No, and I don't remember seeing all the episodes. I would see one here and there when I was younger.
Well, that was back in the day when you had to really be intentional about seeing a show. It's not like now where you can go on and
but you had to have your TV guide to make sure you knew exactly.
We never had a TV guide in our house. My dad wouldn't buy one.
What?
He says a waste of money.
Oh no, we had a TV guide.
You did?
Yeah, we had a TV guide.
You must have been rich. You must have been rich.
No, I wasn't rich. I was not rich by any means, but I mean, if the form of entertainment a lot of times was like, hey, we're going to watch the show. Well, you want to make sure you know what time is coming on.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you didn't have a guide on TV that would let you know.
Well, I'm a little older than you were. And when we used to watch TV, there was like 3 channels. There's like 3 channels on TV when we watched. There wasn't a lot to choose from.
Well, I remember having, let's see, it was either 12, 20 channels, something that we would scroll
20
through.
channels?
Well, half of them weren't really like things that you watch. There was like just garbage shows on.
Wow. 20 channels. That would have been heaven back in the day.
Yeah,
we had three channels. Most of it was news, and then whenever the president was on, he took all 3 channels.
Okay,
you couldn't get away from it.
You're not that much older than me.
Apparently, I am. If you're looking at it that way.
I mean, if you're looking at it that way, but I guess I didn't watch that much TV. It was just like an after school kind of thing where you would, if you don't have homework, you turn on the TV and it was like specific shows that.
Oh yeah, I remember that
you look forward to. But anyway, the Cosby Show wasn't one that I saw all the time. So I actually have seen more episodes as an adult than I did as a kid. But now, as you go back and look at some of them, they've got really good storylines.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were showing me the clip yesterday, and that kind of, woke it back up. Like, man, that's really funny. Because it's hard to find good shows to watch on TV nowadays.
Oh my gosh!
Without all the filth and the crazy, and it's just hard to find good shows. I mean, we like Everybody Loves Raymond is one of our favorites
now, but I didn't even
I never seen it back then.
Well, it wasn't way back then either.
Well, I'm talking about when it was actually on the air.
Right.
I didn't watch it.
Well, yeah, me neither.
So now we watched it in syndication. And well, now with the streaming services, you can watch it.
It's hilarious.
So, yeah. But I'm sorry, back to the Cosby Show.
Right.
So you show me the episodes there, and that kind of woke us up and said, hey, let's see if we can find some Cosby shows. And that's when we found out, man, it's hard to find. There's like 2 platforms that you can find it on, and one of them is Amazon, and the other one is...
And you got to pay for it on Amazon if you want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty crazy, you know, because Peacock... Peacock's pretty awesome because they have a lot of those old shows you used to watch on TV that we grew up with that you and I talk a lot about.
Right.
So that's one place that I thought it was going to be, but not there either, you know.
So I just love that because I love the connection between them as husband and wife. Yep. Okay. As husband and wife, and then as parents. It's hilarious.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, that's, yeah.
And that was kind of something that I looked forward to in a lot of the shows that I watched as a kid. Like what's some of the shows that you used to watch as a kid? Other shows.
Oh wow, I should have wrote this down because now I have to really think. One that really stands out to me back in the day was I love the Brady Bunch. Well, actually, even further than that, because you said I wasn't much older than you. Leave It to Beaver. Leave It to Beaver was my kind of go-to show that, you know, I just could relate with the beef. I'm sorry.
I never watched that when I was little. I know you showed me some now, you know, as an adult, and they are pretty funny.
They are.
And of course, when you try to find something that's got good content nowadays, you almost have to go way back, right?
Well, yeah, compared to what's out now. Yeah, but I mean, Leave It to Beaver was one. Like I said, the Brady Bunch was another one that I really kind of dove into.
I watched some of those, yeah. You
know, the Brady Bunch, I Dream of Jeannie.
I love I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched.
Bewitched.
Yeah, those were fun.
Yeah. So that was probably some of the main. Oh, also I liked Good Times. I used to watch Good Times and the Jeffersons.
Okay.
Those a little more risky, I guess I could say, a little more kind of pushing the envelope back in those days.
Yeah, I never watched those.
Yeah. So.
But I guess I was more like, let's see, Who's the Boss?
Okay, a little older, but yeah, watch Who's the Boss.
I like that one. And it's interesting because I would watch that show and I was always looking for that connection between Tony Danza and what was her name?
Hold me closer, Tony Danza. No?
You know, okay, that is not a thing.
Hey, tell me you don't hear it now.
No, that was in Friends. Yeah, of course you can't unhear it after you hear it. But
sorry,
yeah, I was looking for that connection, always the couple connection between him and his boss. Judith Light was her name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Angela was on the show, right? That was her name, Angela?
That was her name, yeah. So I was always looking for that connection, like when are they going to become a couple?
Well, you talked about Friends too, because like that was always the underlying toe was between Ross and Rachel when they were finally going to come together. And now Who's the Boss? That was kind of the undertow was was his name Tony on the show?
Tony, yeah.
Tony and Angela were going to come together.
Yep.
And so there's always that romantic tie.
Let's see what other shows. I think those were the ones that would come on after school that I would watch.
Yeah, around the 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock hour. Yeah. You know, they kind of tuned that in. Double Dare. Used to watch Double Dare back in the day, watching that craziness. But, you know, talking about that romance, that was one that when you and I were talking this morning at breakfast, you know, because we started talking about some of the shows, and one that it just came off the top of my head, I wasn't even thinking about. Like, I don't even remember watching it until I mentioned to you, there was a show called Love American Style. And
I have never heard of that show.
And I can tell you why.
It was only showing up in the country where you lived?
Yeah, in the country.
Never heard of that.
I'm a foreigner, babe. I'm from the country. But Love American Style, it was on Channel 11 it was St. Louis. We got the satellite through St. Louis. So it came on the St. Louis channel, and it was on midday, which while I was watching TV midday, I don't know, maybe I didn't go to school. I don't know. But anyway, I did go to school. I'm joking. But it would come on, and this show just caught my attention. But the reason you didn't see it, and as I went back and looked this up, it was on TV between 1969 and 1974. Yeah. That was the years it was run. So you weren't even born yet.
Well, okay, but hold on, because you were born 1974.
I was born, though.
Yeah, but you were a baby. Okay. So,
well, the show doesn't go off immediately when they stop filming again. Probably when I saw it was in syndication and they were showing it.
Okay.
But the storyline, which, again, as you were talking about the romance side, because I've always been attracted to that. I mean, I like rom-coms. I like, all those romantic type movies. Sorry, guys.
That's why we get along so well.
I just gave it away. That's a secret to a lasting marriage. You got to watch rom-coms. But that was one of those shows that I liked because it had the element of people falling in love. Like that was always the crux of the whole show. So since you'd never seen it, I went on YouTube and I found one of the episodes from Love American Style, and I started showing it to you, and it blew my mind because the one just picked out at random. It was talking about not online dating, but but kind of that premise of taking information from people's personalities and things and putting it into this computer.
Well, let's just describe the clip of the scene that we watched that you pulled up. Just so happened to be a gentleman going into an office, talking to this lady about getting matched with a female that matched his personality. And it was interesting because that was way back then. But then as we're watching it, it's like, okay, so that's kind of like the equivalent of online dating because they were doing that based on scientific information that they collected, right? And then they collect the information from the man and the female, and then they're like, okay, you guys match.
Yes.
So
but it's old school.
I mean,
they went in and filled out papers, actually writing it out on paper and filling in the dots.
Well, but then you think about it, maybe that's where like Match.com or eHarmony got their idea from.
Well, let's just be honest. Most of the stuff we see even nowadays came out of television or movie from back in the day, and somebody actually made it happen. So I'm always curious, like, what came first?
The chicken or the egg?
Yeah. Like, what happened first? But long story short, like, yeah, that was when we watched the episode. He's looking for that connection with a female. They're taking all this scientific data to give you your best match.
Right.
And that was the premise of the storyline.
Well, and it reminded me about how we met. Because we met online.
We did meet online back in 2007. Yes.
2007?
Yes.
Okay.
Why?
I just had to think about that for a quick second. 2007.
Yeah, it was 2007.
Okay. So yeah, we met online, and it wasn't Match.com or eHarmony.
Well, no, it wasn't, because anyway, I wanted to, because it brought up interest. I wanted to find out, like, okay, how long has these things been? So you had that show that ended in 1974, which had that premise. So I went and looked, and Match.com was started around 1995, almost 10 years later than that show.
Wow.
Okay. But then eHarmony.com, which
Hold on. It was a lot longer than 10 years later. They said that show ended 1974.
I apologize. 19 years. Yeah, 19 years. Sorry. My bad.
Okay.
So yeah, 19.
Probably more. Yeah, almost 20 years.
Okay, almost 20. 19.
I know the math numbers.
But yeah, so Match.com started around 1995, and then eHarmony came onto the scene around the 2000.
I remember eHarmony was like
those commercials
extensive.
Were everywhere. You couldn't get away from an eHarmony.
Yeah, but trying to do their, like...
You did it?
I think I started it.
They had a free trial.
Yeah, I think I started in the free trial because I was not about to pay for all these things monthly.
Well, yeah, they were. Yeah, it wasn't free.
No.
Not the full...
Right.
The full deal. They were going to give you a little taste.
Right. So I think I started the profile, but it literally was something that would take you a couple of hours to fill out. So it's extensive.
The questionnaire.
Yes. To get you to where you are in the database, right? So they can match you.
Right.
And then there was Match.com, which I think back when I was doing the online dating thing before we met, I think I actually tried that during the free trial. But then I was like,
Interesting. So apparently you never got matched, or you never found your lifelong soulmate?
Well, I did, obviously, but not on any of those two platforms.
Right. Because
we met, it was like, oof.
Well, no, because we didn't. What I'm saying is we didn't meet on either one of those platforms.
No, we didn't.
We met on a free platform.
So see, we had something in common already.
Financially sound, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
So it was called, what was it? Yahoo Personals.
Yeah.
That was back when Yahoo was like it.
Before Gmail or Google.
Google took over. Yeah.
Before Google ruled the world.
Yeah.
There was Yahoo Personals.
Yahoo Personals. So we met on that platform, and it was a success. But not before, I know for me.
And we didn't even meet, we didn't have to do any personality traits. Like, we didn't have to fill out any questionnaires.
No.
So that was a divine intervention, my friend.
Yes, 100%. When you look back, hindsight is 2020, and I can see where God's hand was at work there. Because I literally remember just pulling up your picture and was like, I got to meet him. There was something so awesome and genuine about your face that it just drew me in.
Oh, so like the angels. You had like the...
Oh, I did.
You close the computer, open it back up.
That's pretty much how it was. That was the experience.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I just found that interesting that
scales fell from your eyes and you seen truth.
Yes.
I got all kinds of baby. Just keep them coming. No?
So, in terms of that connection, right?
Yeah.
That's human nature. Always, like, people get to that place in their life where they're looking for that lifelong love, so to speak, right?
Yeah, I think, I mean, everybody wants to be loved for who they are.
But
and a lasting love, I would hope.
So I find it interesting that a lot of people get to that place and they're searching for that person. Like you went on that eHarmony research.
Oh, I was going to say, no, I didn't do eHarmony.
No, this morning, because you wanted to look at the statistics of how many people.
I did.
And I think you said something like 33 million people.
Around that time frame. You have to look it up because now I don't remember.
That's insane. How many people were looking for that lifelong love? Because I'm going to tell you, if you're on eHarmony and you're taking 2 hours to fill out a questionnaire to find your perfect mate, you're not just going on there to date somebody for a little bit.
Well, that was a big difference because that was one of the things I did recognize in the statistics they were saying, because people were more vested and actually interested in having long-term relationships. They were more serious on the approach, which the success rate was actually a little higher because of that, with the mindset. Whereas if you go to, and you're going to date me because I don't know all these things today because I have no interest in being on any dating apps.
You better not.
But I hear people talking, and with the research that we do, like, what was it, Match.com, the whole swipe left, swipe right.
Tinder?
Oh, you know that.
Obviously,
I'm joking.
You hear about that everywhere. Stop it.
So the point is, and I don't know, I'm sure there's all kinds of other stuff out there, things we don't know about. But like you said, there's a more like hookup sites. Not saying that someone's not going out there and looking for that, but that's usually not on top of the mind, because it is literally looking at someone's picture, reading a little bit about them, whatever they put up there, which could be true or not true. And most of the time it's probably not 100% accurate.
So almost like a lazier way to find someone.
Outside of, I go into other places, but that makes me think.
Because there's not a lot of work. Like you said, eHarmony, right? The profile was extensive.
Right.
This, not so much.
Yeah. I don't know. I just had a song come into my mind. Sorry, I'm full of music.
You going to
sing? Okay. You ever heard that song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places?
Is that one of your old songs, like from before I was born?
Back in the day before you were born, we had a song called Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places. But can you imagine, like, the premise is looking for love in all the wrong places.
Right.
If you're going to the club to find a spouse, you might be looking for love in all the wrong places.
Or the bar.
Or the bar, or wherever else you're looking for people that is probably not high quality. You guys are probably not there for the right reasons. Or finding the right people. Because they're not going there to, I'm going to find
lifelong love at a bar.
Mr. Right at a bar. Or Mrs. Right.
My point to all this is, if there were 33 million people on eHarmony once upon a time, looking for this life partner,
lifelong love, yes.
Why don't people remember that this is how much they went through to get this person when they've been together 10, 15, 20 years? Like they don't remember the pursuit of finding this lifelong love, like what they did to connect at the beginning, to stay connected, to continue to have the same...
Keep the passion burning.
Yes, like the butterflies and that feeling
keeping the fire alive.
That you feel when you're infatuated with this person at the beginning.
Infatuation.
Yeah, because that's what you feel at the beginning when people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with this person that you just met like a month ago. It's not really that you're in love with them. It's a feeling of infatuation with the newness. So
you don't buy the whole falling in love thing then? Like you just walking along and you just fell in love.
Well, I think you grow in love. I don't think you fall in love. I think you grow in love because you get to know the person, the real person. At the beginning, it's an infatuation with the newness of this person.
Well, it's newness, and let's just be honest, it's because you're investing in a relationship at that point.
Yeah,
You're putting work in.
like typically, for the most part, the guys are putting their best foot forward to take the girl out on it. Hold on, take the girl out on like cool dates to surprise her with different romantic elements.
That's how the guys used to do it. I don't know if guys are doing that anymore because I'm hearing a lot of talk from a lot of younger people, and like our daughter. I'm not gonna say which daughter because we have 4, but she was sharing with us like guys don't even put any work in anymore. They just want to pay half and take you out they don't even take you out to dinner. Hey, do you want to go to dinner with me? And they split the bill.
That's crazy.
We'll meet there. Like they don't go and pick up the girl anymore. It's like really lazy dating.
Well,
it's not even dating.
I'm the mom that if my daughter's gonna come home and say, well, he wanted to take me out and we went out and he wanted me to pay half the bill, be like, don't you go out with him again.
That's crazy.
Nope, that is not a good man.
But again, it's like not really even dating. They're not putting in work forward.
Right.
So, yeah, like where's that going to go?
Well, I think that's why I like some of these older shows and just remembering what that looked like to pursue a woman to a certain degree, and then the dating element of wooing her and, doing special romantic things.
That's your word of the week, isn't it? Woo.
Woo?
To be wooed.
Sure.
Wooing her.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let's really talk about this dating thing because a lot of married couples kind of let that fall down the wayside.
Well, again, because I think when people first get together in a relationship, because you are putting the best foot forward, you are putting effort forward, you're really focused on each other, you're learning about each other. So it seems fresh, it seems new, you're learning new things, you're keeping it excited, which draws you guys in together.
Well, it feels like after a while, people just forget to pursue each other in every season of life. Like they only do it at the beginning, and then when they have each other, i.e. when they're married, and they're together, like in the same household and doing life together, like they almost feel like that's the time that you spend together. It's just, doing chores and parenting and working.
Well, it's because the relationship goes on cruise control. You're not really intentional about it anymore, and it's just kind of coasting, but you're not really putting any energy or effort into it.
It's okay. So why do people do this? Why? And we bring this up. I want to bring it up because dating for a lot of married couples doesn't seem like it's a thing. It's almost something that they reserve for like special occasions or if they go on a special vacation. And it's very sad because to stay connected and to keep that connection alive between each other, we have to continue to pursue each other with that element of dating and romance. And the only way that builds and you have those feelings of, the butterflies and that feeling that you felt at the beginning is when you do that. When you go out on a date somewhere you've never been before and stir up those old feelings that are in there. Because if you felt them before, they're still in there.
You asked me a question, why does it stop?
Why does it stop?
Well, you can't blow past that because that's a big part of it.
Okay, let's take it back there.
Well, no, because you're asking like, why does it stop? Why in the beginning does it work that way when we're invested and we're being intentional and we're making it happen and we feel like we're in love, but eventually somewhere in a relationship, it's usually about 1.5 to 2 years, people kind of again put it on cruise control and stop being intentional, and distractions start to bleed into the relationship. I.e., if it's a newer couple, maybe that's around the time that babies start to show up. We're starting to have kids. And not saying kids are distractions, but they are. I mean, because it takes your attention off of each other because you're more focused on this newborn child who needs your help.
As it's supposed to, like,
exactly.
You're supposed to have attention on this new child, but you're not supposed to get your attention shouldn't just fully be your kids. True.
But a lot of time and energy goes into that baby because they're fully dependent upon you.
Well, of course. That's why I said, I mean, of course you have to give the baby attention.
Right. So that takes a little bit of time and energy away from the relationship for a period in the season.
Right.
The problem is I think a lot of people get stuck in that.
They do.
Like when you got a home where it stays revolving around the kids. Like you never get out of that season. That season just perpetuates, through not just newborn, but toddler, adolescence, high school, when all those other seasons come in and you guys never revisit being boyfriend and girlfriend. You never revisit being husband and wife. You just get locked into mom and dad.
Yeah.
Where's the passion in that?
Well, it takes work to have the passion always be there. And a lot of people, there's some couples that'll say, or individuals that'll say, if we have to work at it, then maybe we shouldn't be together,
that's a myth.
That's so ignorant is what it is.
I mean, relationships take work. They don't just happen. Even when you guys got together, it's because you guys were working at it. You just didn't see it as work.
Right. It takes work after you have come together and you've married and now you have kids to continue to create that space and those practices of being a couple. It takes work to do that.
Well, maybe change the word work into intentionality. Maybe that's a different approach, but still doing the same thing.
Tomatoes, potatoes.
Well, people, they think work and it kind of takes them to a negative place because nobody really likes to work. Let's just be honest. They don't want another job, and your relationship shouldn't be another job, but it's another opportunity to bring more joy into your life.
Well, you're making a choice. I guess
everything's
being
a choice.
Intentional, you're making a choice to work on your relationship, to always pursue the element of connectedness and passion.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about another thing. We're talking about distractions and kids being that. But careers, a lot of times, become a big roadblock to connection between husband and wife.
Well,
we take so much time and energy away from the relationship, and we put it into our careers, again, which is meant to be for a season. If you're building,
you almost start to date your career.
Date
like that would be the dating
it's an
element.
adulteress. What are you talking about dating?
You start to date your career, and then it becomes a full blown affair.
Right,
where it kind of takes that space where your spouse used to be.
Again, yes. Like it's out of balance, and and a lot of couples can't recover for that because, again, they don't go back to what they did
at the beginning,
at the foundation of the relationship when they were building this connection.
Purposeful connection.
Yeah, they never revisit it.
And a lot of people, right, that they're in that season of there's career, there's kids, there's all these things happening. Oh, we don't have time to date.
That's a hard one that I have a hard time digesting.
Yeah, you're not making time to date would be the better statement. It's not that you don't have time. You're not being intentional with your time about dating your spouse. So when you're feeling like disconnected, right, that all of a sudden you guys don't have anything in common, it's not that. You're not looking for the element of having stuff in common anymore, because now you're, if you're vested in your job and career, that's where your attention, you have chosen to remove your attention from the relationship, and you're investing it elsewhere.
Correct.
So I think that's a huge hurdle for dating, is people make other things more important.
Dating and marriage, you mean? Yes,
dating and marriage is specifically to marriage, because a lot of married couples stop dating, which blows my mind. Like, why do you want to stop being a couple?
Well, and again, talking about covenant marriage and staying together forever, which is by God's design, right? I think people have, again, brought into this myth that, after you've been married for so many years, you're not going to have passion anymore. You just kind of take it for what it is, and we're just kind of doing life together, and we're kind of just filling our time with stuff and people and relationships and, but never really understanding that God designed marriage to get better as each year comes. As each season that you go through, that you as a husband and wife go through together, it should strengthen that bond of your relationship. Like, you should be able to look back together and be like, oh my gosh, babe, look what we did.
Yeah.
Look how God has blessed us in our marriage. When we got through that season with our teenagers, which was living horrible and difficult, look at us now on the other side. And God walked us through that. And look at just how awesome he was and how faithful he was during this time when in the middle of it, we didn't know. We're like, God, we got to trust you right now because we don't see it. But now we're on the other side, and we're so grateful that we did it together.
We, once upon a time, had 5 kids.
We still have 5 kids.
Well, yeah, but not all in the house.
Okay.
But while we were in the seasons of having all these kids, we still found time to be together, to be a couple, to be intentional with being together. Because here's another thing that people like to use as a hurdle. We don't have that much money.
Time and money is, the two big things we hear from couples.
Yeah, we're too busy, or we don't have enough money. And okay, when you have 5 kids, sometimes you don't have a lot of money to date, but you find ways to connect, to stay connected as a couple.
That's right.
Because if not,
I can turn ramen noodles into a 4-course meal. Trust me. There's some ramen noodles, some eggs, some peas and carrots, baby. Throw it on a little wok. Put my little chef hat on.
Point is, sometimes when you have kids and for whatever reason, some people don't have a babysitter, right?
True. We hear that.
You know, you hear that for some people if they've moved from away from their family because of work or whatever.
Right.
Some people don't have family members that can help with watching kids for them to have a date night, which is no excuse, because if you have a church community, church family, like, join a group, meet some people.
Well, yeah, you need to have a community around you there that's help walk with you during the season.
Through those seasons, right.
For sure.
And they probably know people that they trust that babysit for them, or you can babysit for each other.
I was going to say, because they probably need help.
Yeah.
For someone to help them with their kids.
So don't let that be an excuse to you not continuing to date your spouse. Because dating is essential to keeping that connectedness alive.
So you're saying not having babysitters. So you said not having time,
right?
Not having money,
and not having babysitters.
Anything else you can think of?
Well, those are some of the major excuses that we hear for couples not dating.
I got another one. We don't know what to do. We don't have any ideas. My husband won't come up with anything, and I'm tired of planning our date nights.
Go to Google. Google's got so many friggin' ideas because that's frustrating when people say that. It's like, really? Like,
but again,
your creativity went out the window after you got married, and now you can't think of stuff to do with your spouse.
You remember what I told you? It's about doing the work. People take that as a task and not seeing it as a gift.
You said we weren't calling it work anymore.
We're not calling it work, but I'm identifying. That's what people think of it as. Oh my gosh, I got to do this again. Yes, you get to do this again. Think about it. If you were to take 5 minutes out and go online and search, the top 20 dates in your area, and you do just one.
Yeah, you go. Google has so many different ideas for you to do, and some of them are free.
Is there any other search engines out there? Or
I don't even know.
Does Google mean everything now? It's like synonymous with Coke. Like you think about soda, it's a Coke.
I mean, I think,
or a pop.
I think
where you're from.
I think many people go to Google to find stuff nowadays. I don't hear too many people going to Yahoo like it was back in the day, or what else was there? Bing.
Chandler Bing.
I think that was one of them.
Chandler Bing.
But it's sad that where once upon a time somebody was on a dating site looking for that ideal mate to have for the rest of their life. Now, let's say 5-10 years later, now it's a task to try and figure out something to do with this person that you desperately wanted once upon a time.
Yes. And again, I think it has to do with that myth that people think it's just going to happen. It's just natural.
Oh yeah, love should be organic. It should just happen. I've heard that one a couple of times, and it's just like, really?
Yeah.
Who said that? Love takes work. It's a choice.
It's intentionality.
Love is a choice.
You cannot get away from that work word. You can't.
No, because it takes work and intentionality, because love is a choice. Because sometimes, let's just be real, your spouse is going to take you to a place where they're not very lovable. And you have to choose.
Are you speaking from experience right now?
I am speaking from experience.
You got the scour looking at me right now.
Okay.
If you guys are not watching the YouTube version of this podcast,
sometimes
watch it right now, because this lady's looking at me.
Sometimes your spouse acts a little bit unlovable.
Yeah.
So you have to choose to love them through the unlovable moments.
But something you pointed out to that point, that couples that date more, that go on more dates regularly, have less of those times when their spouse is unlovable.
Very true.
And that was a good point to recognize. You're not just dating to do it. It's not just checking the box. Because we share with couples all the time, like, hey, you're supposed to go on a date at least once a week, and they look at us with these big eyeballs.
You should try, because some people can't do it once a week. But
again, I'm not believing that because of what we just said.
Okay. So you can have a date literally at home. You can set up a date.
We go to our room, we lock our door, we put our kid to bed now because there's only one left. We put our kid to bed, we grab our popcorn, we sit down, and
and we have a date. You're right.
In the bedroom.
100%. Yes. But some people like to come and say we can't go on a date every week.
But you can.
So for some of those folks that have kids and find it very difficult to find a babysitter, you can have a date at home. You can set up an environment. There are people that will set up a fort. They build a fort.
Yes.
And make it kind of a little romantic space. They have a movie night, rom-com, movie night with popcorn or little.
It could be action. It could be an action movie too.
Could be.
Yeah.
But with little snacks and everything, and you set an environment
For love.
to have a date with your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
So there are literally no excuses keeping you from doing this.
Well, because at the end of the day, the date is about connection.
Right.
Is this something that you and I, as husband and wife, can connect to in this moment that we've carved out and we're being really intentional with?
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a connection there between you guys, it's a win.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to spend lots of money. You don't have to go to some extravagant place, which sometimes it's nice to get out of the house and go do things.
It is.
But like, that's not the end all be all.
Right. And so we're going to speak real quick to the people that get married and think they're going to keep acting like they used to when they were single. Okay?
Yeah.
And I bring this up because there are some couples that come together and you hear them say, we don't like the same movies.
Yes.
We don't like the same shows, so we can't sit together. And I think that's a bunch of baloney because when you get married and you become one, there's an element of sacrifice because you love the other person. If they have an interest in watching something, but they want to do it with you, why wouldn't you be able to sacrifice for this person to sit there for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is, and form some conversation around what you're watching?
Well, yes, I agree with that. But really, at the core of that, it's about connection.
Mm-hmm.
They're asking you to spend time with them because they want to connect with you.
Right.
And this is an opportunity for connection.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get so wrapped up in, is this not my style, this is not my taste, you're missing an opportunity to connect with your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Which again is going to, in the long run, you're going to have a happier marriage.
Mm-hmm.
That's always something that, that I've noticed is that when someone comes out of their selfishness
Right.
and gives in to selflessness, like there's something happens in your spouse's heart.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty supernatural. I think it's part of God's design.
Which builds something in your relationship.
Which nurtures the relationship that your spouse actually will cherish. If they know you're sitting beside them and it's not really your thing, but you're doing it anyway, it shows them that they're important and that they matter.
So stop being selfish, in essence, is what I wanted to say. Is you don't get married to continue to live the way you used to live when you were single.
Right.
Maybe sometimes you might get to do certain things, if you and your wife or you and your husband are at a good place and there's something like, let's just pick something random, playing golf. Some people like to play golf, but sometimes playing golf gets in the way of relationship because that becomes one of those priority things.
Yeah.
So you need to nurture the relationship to the degree that if you ask your spouse, hey, are you okay with me going to play golf this weekend with some friends? They're okay with it because they're not at the bottom of your list. In essence, they've been prioritized. You're nurturing their relationship regularly. So when once in a while, when there's something that, you want to do with friends or whatever, it's not such a huge deal.
Yeah.
Then when you make golf the priority and then the spouse kind of falls down the list.
I'd say if you want to play golf, go play golf together.
You can do that too.
Like as a couple, go do something different. Like if it's not your thing, great, it's not your thing, go play golf together.
Yeah. Point is, you can't go into marriage thinking that you're still going to be able to continue to do life the way you did it before getting married. Doesn't work like that.
Yeah. So back to dating.
So again, it is about nurturing the relationship through having these rituals of connection, let's call it. Like you're being intentional about connecting and you're, sharing activity together, different things that maybe you didn't even know you would like. But if you guys do it together.
Well, that's when most memories are made, when you're doing something you don't normally do. It's something new. That's what makes it exciting because it's different.
Yeah.
And again, if as a couple you're not doing anything new, you're missing it.
You're
missing a great opportunity to create new, lasting memories, which again is why it's important to date one another. Sorry guys, that's our dog in the background deciding he wanted to be on the podcast today. But it's important, to have those moments and those memories together that is going to create that lasting connection as a husband and wife.
Absolutely. So don't let these excuses be the reason why your marriage starts to fall apart, why you start to lose connection. Because where there's a will, there's a way. If you want to stay connected to your spouse, You can do that. If you want to go on dates, like actually leave the house, find a trusted friend. Like build some connection with people. You work with people. You go to church with people. Like there are people all around us. Be intentional about making those connections so you can have a trusted person that maybe, like we shared earlier, you can switch on and off. Okay, we'll watch your kids for you this weekend and you can watch ours next weekend and, whatever. But there's a way to make this happen, to keep dating a priority in your relationship.
Yeah.
Because it's essential.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So I know as we were sharing some of the stuff earlier, you were sharing a scripture verse that I know we've looked at so many times, but it really, when you look at it in context, it has to do with dating, with going and keeping your relationship alive throughout the years. So you want to share that?
Well, yeah, I can definitely, because it was from, start to say Samuel, not Samuel.
Is it Proverbs?
David's, yeah. Gosh, I just went blank there all of a sudden. David's son.
Solomon, King Solomon.
Yeah. Yep, in Proverbs. And it's from Proverbs 5:15 through 19. And think about this from the context of relationships and a marriage. It says, drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the streets, in your streams of water in the public squares, let them be yours alone, never to be shared with strangers. May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. A loving doe, a graceful deer, may her breast satisfy you always. May you be intoxicated with her love. I love that.
Which part that the Bible talks about breasts?
No. That my wife's a loving doe and a graceful deer.
Sure.
I'm thinking about that, we prancing around. But the loving part is kind of cool. The loving part's kind of cool. Well, no, because as I see this, and as we were talking about it, I'm like, man, there's a lot of truth, obviously, in God's word when it comes to relationship, and especially in the husband-wife relationship.
Yeah.
And as it pertains to dating, like the things inside of you that you desire from your spouse, God put that in you to draw you to each other, to connect you on a level which is supposed to be unique only to the husband-wife relationship.
And you think about it, when you're feeling that lack, you've stopped drinking from your own well.
You're thirsty.
Yeah, you're either thirsty or you're drinking from a different well.
Hold on a second.
It says drink from your own well.
Yeah. Where do you get drinking from other well? I don't see that.
Okay. If you're not doing this, you start drinking from different wells, i.e. work, your kids. So you're not filling each other like you should. You're not fulfilling those needs that only you can meet from one another in a marriage.
So
That's what I meant.
So your thirst will never be quenched is what you're saying.
Correct.
There's the thing inside of you that desires only for your spouse.
Correct.
That only your spouse should be able to quench that thirst.
Right.
Not something that is, I started to say forgery, not forgery. What's what I'm looking for? Counterfeit.
A counterfeit.
Yeah. So it's not counterfeit.
Right.
that it's not going to meet that need. Because yes, you enjoy time with your kids. It's good. It can pass the time, but that's still not going to meet the longing that you have for that connection with your spouse.
That only was meant for your spouse to meet.
Right. And knowing that if I'm thirsty, I need to go to my well.
Right.
Not anybody else's well. My well. And I love that because it says your own cistern.
That's what I meant. See, you were like, what were you talking about? Well, that's what I meant.
Well. So you belong to me. That's what I see. You are mine. Lovingly. What do you laugh for? I'm yours.
Yes, I know.
I submit to that. I am yours.
100%.
And if you have needs that need met, come to me.
I will.
And I
usually do.
I will give you something to drink.
I usually do. But yeah, it's important to remember this when you're married and you've been married 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Don't take your spouse for granted, because I think that's also something that happens. You start to take each other for granted. Like, we don't need to date. We already have each other. Like, we see each other every day. We're doing life together.
No, that's a big lie.
It is. It is a lie. You need those the moments to connect that you're able to build on. You have to have those shared activities that you do together.
Well, a note that I put after reading the scripture, one of the first ones I said is, be refreshed from your own wife. Be refreshed from your spouse.
Right.
Life is hard. Marriage is hard. Being a parent is hard. Where are you being refreshed? Like outside of your relationship with God, which is first and foremost. Like he is the one that brings you rest. He is the one that gives you everything that you need.
Living water.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you'll never thirst again. So he's the one that you get that need majorly made from or filled from. But he's also giving you a spouse.
Right.
Right? To be a living representation of that connection.
Right.
That you can tangibly touch, that you can tangibly feel, and having the relationship here. Mm-hmm. And if you're not going to your spouse and having these moments of being on a date and doing these things, you're really missing it.
You know what? Honestly, I feel that's what I look forward to the most every day is our date night in the bedroom when work is done.
Me too.
And kids are in bed. I kid you not. When I wake up in the morning and I'm making the bed.
You can't wait to get back in
I literally, in my mind, I'm like, can't wait to get back here tonight.
Mr. Bed, I'm going to be seeing you in just a few hours.
I love that because it's the time that we connect. And it's almost like a nightly date. If you think about it that way, your kids are not there. Doors locked. We put something on that we like. And I know for us, sometimes an hour show will take us 3 hours to watch because we will continue to pause so we can discuss something that was on the show. Yeah. That kind of pulls us, I guess, closer together and connects us more. We just have conversation around the show and we'll continue to pause. Okay, play. Right. Okay, pause it right there. Let's talk about this point. It's really great.
Well, the good thing is that it gives you something to look forward to. Like when you said, I know we were joking, but like getting out of bed and thinking about looking at later, something that you look forward to. Like in your relationship, when you get up and you guys kiss each other goodbye and you go to work or you go wherever you go, you should be looking forward to coming back to your spouse.
Absolutely.
Right? You should be looking forward throughout the day to have that connection with your spouse. That's what dating does. It puts a longing inside of you that doesn't get filled, and you're always looking for more of that connection with each other.
I don't know. Listen, I have to attribute it to God, the connection that we have, because we work together, we eat together, we, shower together, sleep together, like everything is together, and I'm always looking forward to more.
Baby doll, we have become one. Like we are one.
Yes, we are one, but it just, I look forward to more. Every day I'm making the bed. I can't wait to get back in here, to be with my boyfriend, spending the night together, because you have to keep it that way. Like you're going to be a boyfriend to me forever. And if we look at those times very intentionally like that, you stay in that dating realm.
Well, stay in the dating realm. Marriage is meant to be a blessing, not a curse.
Right.
Like God designed marriage to be a blessing. And if that dating and coming back to your spouse is refreshing to you and it brings good things to you, think about how that's pretty awesome. Like, and you start to see the relationship totally different than if you're coming home and you guys aren't connecting.
Yeah.
Your husband goes one place, the wife goes another place, and you never come back to connect with each other. You're living two separate lives. You're literally just passing in the hall and you're business partners.
And if let's just talk to that point real quick. If you guys have opposite schedules that you work, y'all need to be more intentional about having a date night weekly. Yeah. To connect, to reconnect. Sometimes, let's be real, sometimes couples go through seasons where they are working opposite shifts.
Yeah, it can happen.
Sometimes it's just what has to be done. And if that's happening, you guys have to be intentional with your time off to reconnect. To reconnect as a couple, as husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, keeping that love alive and growing with those intentional connections.
For sure. Absolutely. So another part coming out of this verse that I wrote down because I took some notes as we read through it, is this always being satisfied by focusing on the good things in your relationship and each other. There's satisfaction when you think about what gift that you have before you that God has given you. Yeah. Focusing on the things that are true, right? That are right. The blessings that are before you. Think about, because that's the person that you're with, that you're married to. Is the person you prayed for once upon a time. Yeah. It's a person that you went on Eat Harmony looking for once upon a time for some people. But think about that. Like, this is the person that I prayed would be in my life one day, the husband that I prayed for, the wife that I prayed for, and sometimes we can get away from remembering that.
Well, that's good, because a lot of times when you get into that negative headspace that all you think about is all the negative stuff that's happening in your relationship, you literally make your spouse the enemy in your home. You make that person out to be the wrong person. You hear people say, oh, I think I married the wrong person. No, you're thinking about them as the wrong person. Therefore, they become the wrong person in the relationship. So you got to get out of that negative state of thinking negative about your spouse and think on the good things.
Yep.
Because you got where you got because there were good things in your relationship. Right?
Yeah.
So think about being together 25 years, 30 years, and now you're like, oh, okay, what are you thinking on? You might want to pull out some pictures, some experiences you've had together.
Yeah.
Go back to doing what you used to do because you're missing out.
Yeah. So the last part of the verse, I'll read it again. This is 5:19. Proverbs 5:19. A loving doe, a graceful deer. May her breast satisfy you always. May you be intoxicated with her love. And, it makes me think, especially as a man and as husband, the part, may her breast satisfy you always.
This is specifically talking to husbands.
It is. I understand. But how does that happen? Number one, I can't be looking at other breast.
I can't be either.
I wouldn't. And I can't be thinking about other breast. It's kind of like, and not that I'm comparing you to a car, you go find this car that you love, that you're willing to, sign on the line that this is going to be my car. And I'm going to pay for what they're asking, which is usually like the price of a house when you're done. But like you're vested for that. And it's awesome and it's wonderful. It's clean. And for the first few weeks, you're taking real good care of it. You're kicking off your shoes. You won't let anybody eat in it. You don't let anybody drink in it. If they're going to sneeze, you pull over and make them get out and sneeze outside. Like that kind of reverence for this car. But then, a few months, years later, you don't have the same kind of reverence for that car anymore. And then you see another car drive up and you start looking at that car.
And that one looks a
and
lot
then you're
better
like,
than
man,
yours.
My car don't look like this. I don't feel the same way that I feel about this. So now my car is not satisfying anymore.
It's not taking care of it like you used to.
Right? Same thing in relationships. You have to have like this reverence for this wife that God has given you. You treat her different. You talk to her different. You take care of her different. I don't care if you've been married for 1 year or 50 years. Like you should take even better care of her the first year you're together because now you know better.
Right.
You learn more about her. You learn more about what she needs. You guys are able to hear and understand each other more. You know what I mean?
I think also meditating on thoughts like that, the good thoughts throughout the years, the experiences, is where you get to the place where you can be intoxicated with her love.
Well, and that was the last part there, thinking about like, and it doesn't stop there with what I was sharing, is like that you may be intoxicated by her love, like what you just said, and I was thinking about that. What would that look like to be intoxicated by my wife?
I think it would look like me making the bed thinking, I can't wait to get in this bed with my husband later.
That's what I should be thinking is what you're, well, I don't know. I'm back.
I'm just saying that's what it feels like. It feels like, you know what? I've spent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with this man, but I can't get enough of him. So I cannot wait to spend even more time with him.
Can't get enough. It sounds like a song.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I'm thinking of another song. Can't get enough. But yeah, and that's why I put down the notes like I'm overwhelmed. I'm blown away. I'm mesmerized. Like the sense of intoxication and what that would look like in our relationship if I were to live that way. And I can tell you right now, if I was in that mindset, if I keep that in the front of my mindset, I'm going to see you very different. I'm going to talk to you very different. I'm going to treat you. I'm going to treat you very differently.
Are you in that mindset, babe?
I pray to God that I am. I think, and I guess I should, because you're my report card. I'd have to ask you.
I was going to answer.
Okay, go for it.
I would say 100%.
100%.
100%. You take care of me.
Well, that's pretty high.
That's not. Hold on a second. That's not saying you don't make mistakes or make me mad, because that happens.
Yes.
Frequently, because you're human. You're not Jesus. However,
definitely not.
I feel that as the days progress in our relationship, I feel that the word God is doing in you is very evident externally, because I see the way you take care of me and the way you serve me, and you serve me well. And even and you make me mad,
Mm-hmm.
you still come back and try to make it right.
Of course.
There's not a lot of time that passes for us to get right with one another when there's the upsets and the conflict, which will happen in marriage. I mean, we didn't get to be together almost 17 years because everything's just been, oh, there's times, right, that we have to work through stuff. And you know what? It's almost great opportunities that we've had in conflict to really work at it and not become complacent and lazy.
And that's the last part where I'm going to button up the podcast. Dating reminds you guys that you're on the same team, that we're partners, that we're in this together, and that's a big part of dating, that we can see that we're walking together during this life.
Amen.
And during this journey.
Mm-hmm.
So when things like that come up, like you said, we don't let time pass.
Right.
Because we've had that connection either every night or every week that keeps us in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know your heart better because we spend that time together and we have those conversations.
Right.
Now, if we weren't having that leaves a big space for the enemy to fill in a whole bunch of negative.
Yep, absolutely.
So when conflict comes, I'm not only thinking about the conflict, I'm thinking about everything else the week that I've been disappointed about, that I've been angry about, that I didn't have time to share with you about.
Yep.
And that's, guys, and this is for the men. If you're in that place where you feel like your wife is frustrated and angry with you a lot, when's the last time you guys went on a date? No, think about it. When's the last time you took your wife out on a date and, by my wife's words, wooed her? Where she came off that date and she felt like a queen. You know what I mean? Like she felt like she did that day that you met her, that you took her out, that you made that vow to her, that she was going to be number one, she was going to be the priority, that for the rest of her life, you were going to be that man in her life that she could always count on. Because I'm telling you, if that woman felt that way, she's not going to be angry all the time. You're going to see a different look on that lady's face.
Absolutely.
So dating is important.
Don't neglect dating in your marriage relationship. You can find a way to do it, whether you have to stay at home or go out, get a babysitter.
So no excuses.
No excuses.
So let's wrap that up. Let's wrap that up. No excuses. We don't have time. It's not an excuse.
That's a lie.
We don't have a babysitter.
That's not an excuse.
It's not an excuse.
It's not an excuse.
You got to work with what you got.
Yeah.
But you still got a date. So time, babysitter. Oh, we don't have money.
Yeah. That's a lie too, because if you don't have money, you still can create a space at home where it can feel romantic and it can be a date for you guys to have at home. So there's no excuse.
Yeah. And there was a fourth one, but I can't remember what it was. Do you?
I can't remember.
That's what happens when I don't write stuff down. I just lose it, but in the moment. But I'm sure it's pretty something.
I'm sure it's in there.
It's in there somewhere.
In the time that we've spent talking. But be intentional about each other, because once upon a time, you longed for this person.
Yep.
Once upon a time, you wanted to have a life with this person. Don't let the conflict and the bad moments ruin what you always longed for, because it's still there.